Warning, we are doing another top 10 list. If we mention a film on this top 10 list, there may be slight spoilers. So if you hear a film you like, we know we're going to spoil it, we'll probably say a warning again and give you a time code to jump to. But also, if you hear a movie and you want to know nothing about it going in, then skip ahead probably 5 minutes. We do not know a specific time.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Cinema Roulette. Oh boy, am I excited for this, because this is the second top 10 that we've done so far?
Yeah. Remember when we did a top 10 without any influence whatsoever?
Yeah, it was good times. And
I'm not bitter about anything at the moment. Wait, actually, question. Did we already show the wheel spin, or are we going to show it after a little banter?
I think for the first one we showed it at the beginning, so we'll do that. We're just gonna talk now.
Well, we didn't have a wheel spin because we just randomly decided a top 10 list.
Yeah, so we'll show it. Sure, why the fuck not? You know it is by the title, and we know what it is because we spun it before we recorded. But yeah, here's the spin for posterity. Wasn't that lovely? I liked that spin a lot.
Yeah, wasn't it great to listen to or watch if you go to the YouTube channel,
yes,
CamCam?
That's right, CamCam, that's me. And so, without further ado, this is a list of our top 10 favorite foreign movies. So, before we get started here, I do want to say, just a little behind the scenes thing. I had a little more trouble compiling a list than Justin because I've seen I've seen more foreign movies than he has, so.
Yeah, I branded it. I thought I've seen a good chunk of foreign movies. I have not seen a good chunk of foreign movies.
Yeah.
Also, a little caveat, a little thing about the list. No animated movies.
Yep.
The reason for this is anime would win. Doesn't fucking matter what you tell me. You can tell me all these classic Japanese, UK, Australian, fucking Russian films. I don't care. Anime will dominate our list.
Yes, it will. And we're just being perfectly honest, and that's why we're saving that for another time, like top 10 anime films, probably, specifically, because this list would be dominated by them, and you all know what our number one would be. It's Promare, so easily.
Yeah, we actually said if we ever do a top 10 anime list, it will be top 10 anime films, except Promare.
Because that would easily take number one and just be another opportunity for us to just jack off the movie, because it's so goddamn good. Ugh.
And we'll get to do that in the recap episode. Well, we'll explain later.
We will. So that's a caveat.
Not in this episode, but later in general.
So that's a restriction for Justin and I, but I have a few more restrictions because some of my favorite directors happen to be foreign foreign directors as well. So there's a couple rules I set for myself. Beforehand, we said, one Akira Kurosawa film because I've seen so many of his movies, it's not even funny, and I love Kurosawa. One Dario Argento movie, because a lot would be on there. One Sergio Leone movie, I said. And one Fritz Lang movie, because he's also done a shit ton that I like. So those are my restrictions, just so it's not entirely taken up by those four directors.
I don't have any other restrictions because I have very limited lists.
Has not seen nearly as many foreign movies as I have. I think I had to choose between I had a list of 20 that I had, and I had to cut literally 10 of them out. So
for me, when Riccio, the Story of Ricky may possibly make the list, it didn't. But when that becomes a possibility, you haven't seen enough foreign films.
Yes.
That are not animated. I've seen a lot of animated foreign movies.
Which is amazing, because animation is fucking fantastic, so.
It is. So, fuck you, person in the Letterboxd Facebook group who said, oh, you probably didn't watch many animated movies. 25% of all the movies I've seen, according to Letterboxd, are animated. So, fuck you.
You're goddamn right.
I was going to say one last thing. For more casual film goers rather than film buffs, we are counting the UK as foreign because we are American. Well, and also it's made in a different country
Yeah.
with different political space.
Yes.
There's a lot of things that go into making a movie. Okay.
It's technically a foreign film, and that's the thing. Like, I love Brit accents. Brit accents are one of the sexiest accents for men and women, for me, at least. So
Yeah. Also, I should actually clarify. I have seen a good chunk of foreign films. Because I said I think that I haven't seen 30. I have. I haven't seen 30 that I enjoy.
that you would put in like a top 10 foreign movies list. That's fair.
Yeah, because I was going over the movies I've seen on Letterboxd, and it was like, oh, here's a foreign movie. It's a 5 out of 10 or less. Oh.
Yeah, that's fair. All right.
But I did have enough for 10, so
Hell
we can
yeah,
do it.
Because God knows I do love me some foreign movies. So, all right. So, yeah, should we get started?
Yeah, who's going first?
I think you went first last time, yeah?
I did.
I think I'll go first this time, then, in that case. We'll rotate.
I will go first, yes.
Oh, fuck.
No, go.
All right. So, number 10. Number 10 is an interesting one because it's one of those ones that is kind of obvious for foreign films, but it made it anyway. It is the original 1954 version of Godzilla. Yeah, the original Godzilla. And this was interesting because this was kind of a choice between Godzilla and Love Exposure, actually. And it really came down to it came down mostly to the rewatchability and how much I appreciate them. Love Exposure was this goddamn close to making the bottom of the list. It was like a hair away from making the bottom of the list. But it's a movie that I love and that I absolutely adore for holding my attention for 4 hours. But I put Godzilla over it because I appreciate the special effects, one, which are fantastical special effects, and two, I can rewatch it way more than I can Love Exposure.
Well, again, Love Exposure is not going to be rewatchable because it's 4 fucking hours.
Exactly, and that's the main reason that this made it over that is because I appreciate the hell out of them for different reasons, but I would rewatch the original Godzilla over Love Exposure because it's 4 fucking hours. But yeah, this one is it's just in general a really good movie, and it kind of started the whole kaiju thing, but in its own right, it's kind of a really good. It's just a good monster movie, and it has really good symbolism just in general. Because you think kaiju, stupid monster fights, that's the main attraction, but in this one, Godzilla was literally, this was right after Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and. Well, actually, it wasn't really after that because that was in 49 or something when the war ended.
Yes, I'm bad.
It was more based off.
40s.
Sorry, it was based more off of a shipping incident which got blown up or something and had an atom bomb or something like that. I forget what the incident was called, but Godzilla was literally a metaphor for the atomic bomb, and the balls that it took to have that like obvious metaphor like only a few years after Hiroshima and Nagasaki happened. I appreciate that. So it's haunting, really, like at moments that it's just good in general. So, and I am referring more specifically to the original cut because there was 2 different versions of this, and there's a lot of confusion over the cuts because the original Japanese version actually had kind of this whole side love story going on between 3 characters. But the newer one added Raymond Burr. The next cut, I think it was called Godzilla King of the Monsters or something like that. No, was it? No, it was, or was it just?
No.
What the fuck was it? It was something. But it was renamed.
Sure it was.
It was renamed, regardless. I feel bad because I didn't do enough research beforehand on this, clearly. But it filmed completely brand new scenes with actor Raymond Burr, who was well known at that time for being an investigative like guy on I think he was in
Is that the American cut where they add the reporter running
Yes.
around?
That's Raymond Burr who plays the reporter. He runs around
Okay.
and sees all this happen, and it's not nearly as good as the original.
It's because we thought Americans were stupid.
Yeah, it's because we thought Americans were stupid. And it had, of course, the infamous overdubs of English voices over the Japanese actors. But yeah, like that's the whole thing. And because the American cut kind of butchers it. And it literally cuts out that entire atomic bomb metaphor and cuts out just entire characters and subplots for the sake of, Americanizing it. So I'm referring to the original version, which is still a fantastic movie and a classic more people need to see. It's available on Criterion Blu-ray by itself if you want it. So definitely check it out. All right.
I still do need to see it.
Yeah, it's really good. So, okay, but I give the microphone over to you now.
See, now I understand how you feel when we got to the first movie at the end of the last list.
Mm-hmm.
Because you just went over, like, all this symbolism and whatnot. Like these powerful moments. My number 10 is Hardcore Henry.
Oh, yeah, it's technically a foreign film, isn't it? Hell yeah.
It's Russian.
Yep, Russian. So, fuck yeah, Hardcore Henry's great.
It's alright, I'm here to help you. Is your speech module installed? Well, at least we know you're not deaf. Okay, well, the good news is that you're going to live a while. The bad news is there's an army standing between you and your wife. So let's go get her.
You probably know this movie because it was making laps around the internet as a meme since it was a first-person movie.
Yep.
It's basically a video game, and it's kind of fucking awesome. It's just... I hate that this didn't do well because Batman v Superman was out at the time.
Is that really the one that sunk it?
It was out at the... Well, also because it was a foreign indie film that... It was in English, for the most part.
And it was advertised a lot. I do remember seeing advertisements.
It was advertised online, but not so much in other... There wasn't as many, like, trailers before other movies and shit like that. But Batman v Superman was out at the time, so everyone watched that instead of the 90-minute action fest that this was. And it's just fucking brutal. If you remember how in our Mad Max episodes we were talking about how crazy Aussie stuntmen are, Russian stuntmen are equally as nuts. Yeah. I love the behind the scenes of this where there's one scene where a cop like grabs onto a car door, and as they're driving away and they punch him off, the main actor driving thought he almost killed the guy, and they stopped the take and circled back, and the guy's just standing there and goes, well, did you get the shot? And even though if you have motion sickness, you're not making it through this movie, but it surprisingly flows well, especially since due to the way what am I thinking of? Like match cuts work, since it's always from the same perspective of first person, cutting doesn't shift you too much to be to pull you out of the movie.
The way they transition between scenes is brilliant, really. I still love the one cut where he's looking for it and then he looks down and then the scene changes and he looks back up and it's something else.
Oh yeah, because he looks down to see where he's supposed to go, but when he looks up, he's there, so it saved time.
Yeah, and it's just such a fast-paced movie that way, and just the match cuts and like shit like that is brilliant. I love that.
And just since you're in first person, even if they did use CG, which often they did because Russian stunt actors
had to get that shot, man.
Let's just jump off a building.
Yeah.
Sure, why not? There's padding below.
Exactly.
Run across the top of a bridge. It's cool.
Something will have to stop my fall, right?
Yeah, the concrete's there.
Yeah.
But the pace this movie keeps up is just so fucking thrilling. The gore effects are fantastic. The action is punchy and good. It's just awesome. The worst part is probably a nightclub scene where it's a bit too dark at times. Mm-hmm. Or you can lose yourself because there's a lot of shooting, diving behind things, and then getting back up. But besides that, it just flows well. I can honestly rewatch it multiple times. Also, count how many times I've said honestly with just this movie.
Honest trailer. Okay.
Damn it. I also love the fact that the way they got the first person view was a rig holding a bunch of oh shit, what are they called?
GoPros.
GoPros by the mouth, because actually holding a camera at your mouth makes it look like you're looking through someone's eyes. Especially since you can't put it there, because then the actor can't fucking see.
Yeah, because if it's on your forehead, something about the perspective doesn't look right.
It doesn't. Also, your forehead is rounded, so it's kind of angled weird. It's just annoying. Mm-hmm. I know you can have it come off and angle it, but it's odd, to say the least. And in the behind the scenes, they say, "Oh, GoPros are actually surprisingly durable if you handle them right." We went through 42. Yeah. And without giving too much away, the finale has one of my favorite goddamn moments.
Yes.
Actually, it has like 7 of my favorite goddamn moments, and it's great.
Yeah, just the whole finale, and without giving too much away, the way the action goes and the music that they use. Yeah.
Actually, the use of music throughout that film is also just fantastic and adds to the weight of all the gun fights and fist fights.
Yeah. And it's like you said, it does move at a really fast pace. And if you don't have motion sickness, I think that's the biggest caveat is people who have motion sickness will not get through this movie. And that's a bit of a barrier. It's a bit of an issue. But if you don't have that, then definitely watch it, because it's an hour and a half. That's it.
Yeah, I think it's exactly 90 minutes.
Yeah. It's not a long movie. It's just normal length. So definitely check it out. Absolutely. I recommend.
But yeah, I think we can go to the next one.
Alrighty. Let's check this out. Don't know if this one's going to be a short one or not. Oh, yeah, okay. So, number 9 comes to us from Britain, actually. The UK, if you will. And it is a horror movie from 1973 starring Christopher Lee called The Wicker Man.
Gently, 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 Johnny. Gently, Johnny, my jingle.
I think I could turn and live with animals. They are so placid and self-contained. They do not lie awake in the dark and weep for their sins. They do not make me sick discussing their duty to God. Not one of them kneels to another, or to his own kind that lived thousands of years ago. Not one of them is respectable or unhappy. All over the earth.
Gently, Johnny, my jingle.
Yes, I am putting the original Wicker Man on this movie because it is a surprisingly effective horror movie. Everyone knows about the remake with Nick Cage. Everyone knows about the stupid, silly moments with Nick Cage. The infamous "no, not the bees" thing, and oh, is that a shark or something like that. Everyone,
or just Nick Cage punching someone in a bear.
Just Nick Cage, literally, decking I think it's a woman too. He punches a woman in the face, just decks her and knocks her out. But the original movie I think goes really unnoticed, A, because of how memey that movie got, and B, because it really was not an easy movie to find for the longest time. Because the little behind the scenes about The Wicker Man, and this is interesting too, it's similar to Godzilla in that it had multiple different cuts, is it was heavily cut upon its original release in 1973, and for the longest time, no one could find the cut, and the long cut was only available on, it was only available in this lesser quality film. I forget what it was called. I think it was 1/4-inch film tape or something like that.
Oh, jeez.
But I think, who was it? It wasn't Arrow. It was, I have the fucking DVD. Anchor Bay. It was Anchor Bay who actually found like the one long copy of it and released kind of this hybrid version to DVD, and it was the only copy of the long cut in existence. And the DVD is still the definitive version to get, because they did actually find the original long cut on 35mm, actually like good quality film, and released on Blu-ray as the final cut of The Wicker Man. But the director went back and took some creative liberties and cut a couple more scenes out of it.
God damn it.
So it's
and there isn't like an original cut on there?
No, they didn't keep the original cut. It's only like, oh, you can only watch the final. Actually, I think there might have been, but that was only like a limited edition thing. Like it only came with this one and you can't like get it easily now, which was bullshit.
That's super bullshit.
Isn't it? So as of right now, I'm keeping the DVD unless I can find a copy of it. But getting back to the movie itself, it's just a really good... it's literally a cult movie. It is, and the way it, again, I'm going a lot more with the deeper symbolism here, but it brings up a lot of questions about religion and, you know, comparing cults to, you know, modern day religion. It's like, you know, well, what's so bad about this, you know? Yeah, we might have, you know, orgies and stuff, but like, you know, why is this a bad thing? It's like, we're just out here not harming anybody and you're doing the same thing or something like that. And it genuinely does, like, everyone knows the ending, but the ending of it still is genuinely haunting to this day. It's a really dark and really haunting ending that if you don't know it, definitely check it out. But it follows, like I said, a devout Christian who goes to the mainland searching for a little girl who was supposedly kidnapped. It was, Mae Morrison. That's it, because he says it a million times, and he has a bit of an accent, so he's like, Mae Morrison, Mae Morrison. Yeah, he goes to the island looking for it and gets wrapped up in some evil cult shit. So... It's just
if you're in a movie, is it ever good cult shit?
No, yeah, you're absolutely right about that. It's never good cult shit. But yeah, he gets wrapped up in it, and it gets really trippy at times, and it's just the use of music too. It has like kind of a folk music soundtrack, and it's really effective, frankly. So if you can find the original long cut, definitely check that one out. It's a little harder to find, but well worth your time. And it has Christopher Lee. I mean, you can't go wrong with Christopher fucking Lee.
I have a feeling I'm going to sit very much in silence for a lot of your list,
Yeah.
because I haven't seen much.
Seen them. Yeah, so just be forewarned of that, ladies and gentlemen.
So I guess it's my turn, since all I know about The Wicker Man is memes.
Yeah, thanks, Nick Cage.
My number 9 is one you admitted to just barely missing the list, of Love Exposure.
There you go. All right.
私の彼氏と歩いてるじゃん知らないからって普通に見たんだけどは歩いてたでしょ渋谷で
よし
あ、
誰の犬これカラスっていうのは英語で全然わかんなくてはい決まった
For basically the reverse reason Cameron didn't put it on the list is the reason I am putting it on mine, is because it is fucking impressive to have a movie that is 4 hours and keeps your attention for 99% of it.
Mm-hmm.
There's maybe 5 to 10 minutes that drag near the end. The rest of this flows like a 2-hour movie, but again, it's nearly 4.
With no intermission, mind you. It just kind of flows.
It's jaw-dropping how well it flows and how much it covers without getting too muddled. And I'm trying not to give too much away, but also it'd be hard to give a lot away because you could split this movie into 3 other movies.
Yeah, and again, that's why I went on a little tangent at the beginning, because I felt bad for like a little bad, but I had to praise it a little because it's like it is a remarkable feat that a movie that long kept your yours and I.
Words are hard.
I guess I should just go with our. Not trying to say, oh, you and I, just our. There you go. Make it simple brain.
Yeah. If only we had a word for you and I.
Yeah, right? Yeah, like the fact that it kept our attention for almost the entire runtime is mind-blowing to me. And it's just such a weird and out there movie. It really fucking is.
You have fist fights. You have gunfights. You have pervy ninjas. You have cult stuff. You have just all this shit going on. You have priests. You got nuns. It's so fucking much. And the way I found on this film is I was looking at the top rated films on Letterboxd, and this one came up with constant 4s and 5s out of 5. I was like, okay, well, that's a bit odd. I saw something listing, like I just did, all the weird things in the movie. It's like, okay, that's odd as well. And then I saw it was almost 4 hours. That piqued my curiosity because, okay, not only are you saying this is a bunch of people saying this is a great movie, but it's also 4 hours, and I don't see any comments, any reviews saying this is boring or slow.
Mm-hmm.
So luckily, I found it at a used DVD store. Cameron came over in July at one point. I think it was like 2 years ago or 3 years. We watched it.
I think it might have been just last year, actually.
No, it wasn't for 2019.
It wasn't for Midwest 19? Sure,
it was Midwest, but I think it was 2018.
Are you sure?
We did it. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, because weren't we watching and then I was told that my college was closing?
That was when we tried to do Lock, Stock.
Oh, that was Lock, Stock.
And that was 2 years ago.
I'm pretty sure it was the same as that week.
I don't think it was, actually. It might... Actually, because it was literally the day before I left. That was the last thing we watched.
Hold on here.
I think it was last year. I'm pretty sure.
I will check. Hold on. We're going to pause for a second.
All right, yeah, little pause. Oh, no. Oh, technical difficulties. What's going on? Okay, and we're back, ladies and gentlemen.
Or you could have been back beforehand. Who knows when we're cutting.
All right, so yeah, we figured it out. We've cracked the case.
It was 2019, but it was not for a convention.
Yeah, it was 2019. It was in October for a Ninja Sex Party concert we went to. Okay, there we go. We've got that.
Remember when we could go to concerts and be with groups of people? That was nice.
That was fun as shit. I missed that.
But yeah, Love Exposure is a film very much to check out if you can find it. It's not like an expensive Blu-ray or anything, but I highly suggest seeing it. Finding it may be a bit hard because it's a cult film. Yeah. Not like Cameron's cult film.
Yeah, not literally a cult. Well, it does actually literally have cults in it, so.
Oh, wait, yeah, that is true. It does have a cult in it. Okay, so I guess it is a cult film.
There you go.
But if you can find the time in your day to sit through all of it, I highly recommend it.
Absolutely.
It's insane that it works.
Yeah.
That's why it made the list, because it somehow fucking worked.
Yup. All right, so we're moving on to number 8.
Yes.
Number 8 on my list is, and this might become a surprise, it's The Raid 2.
Why number 8?
I did put The Raid 2 over The Raid 1 in my mind, because while The Raid 1 is still a great movie, The Raid 2's action scenes just completely elevate in my eyes. And the whole reason it is at number 8 is because of some of the pacing problems that it has upon repeated viewings. Like, I love it way too goddamn much, and the action scenes are fantastic, and I didn't mind the plot, but it is a little generic, but the reason it's so low on the list is just because it has a couple of pacing issues, so.
Yeah, hey, look, it's a movie Justin can actually talk about because he's seen it.
Yep.
The story bits of the movie can drag pretty hard compared to the just breakneck speed of the action.
Yeah, and it's not horrible. Like, it's not terrible enough to say, it doesn't break me rewatching it. but it is an issue, and that's why it's not higher on the list.
That's fair.
As we said though, the action scenes in the Raid 2, I would go so far as to say are some of the best action scenes ever filmed.
That's 100%.
They
fair.
are fucking fantastic. It is one of my favorite action movies of all time, because I actually watched the Raid 2 before the Raid 1. So,
I did as well,
Yeah.
actually.
yeah, and it's such a good fucking movie. Like, the action scenes are so solid that it's highly worth a watch. It is a thrill ride whenever they happen, and it has one of my favorite car chases ever put to film. It's so goddamn amazing the way it was filmed. Because the cinematography is so well done. There is a moment in the car chase where literally it goes through a car and like into another car and then out that car and then onto, like, it goes to another car, and they literally did just pass it through the fucking car as they did it.
Like, they had it so a cameraman would zoom up, like holding onto the side of one car, pass the camera, and you see the fight scene going on. They pass it out, and a guy on like roller skates or a longboard, I think it was, slides down the road to the next car and hands it off to someone in there. It's so good.
It's a ridiculous amount of effort, but it was such a good fucking shot. It's so well done, and they're well done, and they're brutal as fuck too. Like, my god, this movie earns its R rating.
Oh yeah, it's fucking brutal.
Oh god, yeah, so much blood, so many broken bones. It's so fucking good. And it's a hard movie to really talk about, because it's one of those ones where you're like, oh yeah, that was cool, and it went boo 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 boo, and then boom, and then doo doo doo, you know?
Yeah.
Like, go on.
And another thing that helped this movie is it came out during a time when shaky cam and quick cutting was still a thing, and it actually held on fucking fight scenes, and you just see the actors take these blows so hard.
Yeah,
it's so good.
It's so fucking good, and it's more of a like kung fu and martial arts movie as well. So like it has a lot of that thrown in there with the gunplay and all that shit.
Yeah.
What year did that come out? I'm gonna look that up real quick. But yeah, and again, the plot is serviceable. It's a generic, detective goes undercover to bust some people. But the action scenes are what, in my opinion, elevates it above. It was 2014, so.
Yeah, that was right around the time when quick cutting was still a thing, but it was dying, thankfully.
Because was John Wick the same year, or?
I think it might have been.
Let me look that up. John Wick was 2014, yeah. So this was the time when action movies were starting to become good again, because we could actually see what's going on.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. We need to talk about the action renaissance.
Oh, we do. That's going to be a fun one. We have that on the topic wheel, so.
Pretty sure we do.
We do. I know we do. But yeah, so definitely highly recommend The Maid 2. There's not much else to say about it. Just a fantastic action movie.
Okay, that's it.
Yep. So it's your turn, good sir.
My number 8 is it's a lot calmer. With the Swedish film Let the Right One In.
Ooh, okay, and this is one I don't know much about, so I'm going to be the one sitting in silence for once.
Du måste bjuda in mig.
Vad händer om jag inte gör det? Vad händer om du går in ändå? Finns det något här?
I don't have much to say on this because I really enjoy vampires. I think they're a creature that can be transformed and used in a variety of ways, and I really wish people would explore how vampires work more in films. But in this film, it understands that you know what a vampire is, which is so refreshing because nothing is really explained to you other than why the vampire in the film doesn't age. That's it. Everything else it's just like, hey audience, vampires don't like sunlight? Good. We don't need to go into a long detail explain to the main character, I can't go in sunlight because I'm a vampire. No, we we see the person kind of smoke a bit. We're good. We understand. We know they need to feed. We know what's going on. And it's a pretty by-the-numbers sort of romantic vampire movie.
Romantic vampire movie, really?
Yeah, there's a bit of a romance going on, but it's between two kids, so, it's not going to be fucking hardcore.
Okay, good.
Type deal. It's a very calm movie, and the use of winter and snow in it is just beautiful. A lot of the cinematography it gives this proper air of calm, but also the feeling of loneliness that is often grabbed in horror movies that take place in winter.
Mm-hmm.
Just this feel throughout the movie of you're alone, but also being watched. And besides one twist where you need to understand the book in order to get what the hell's going on, it's a solid adaptation. I'm trying to words properly here, but my brain is not working well.
It's all right, man.
Honestly, as a vampire movie, it can be by the numbers, but just the mood and atmosphere save it a lot. And all the characters are pretty likable, which for kid actors is rare, especially in horror movies.
Gets unpleasant flashbacks from the Babadook.
Oh no. Hey, did you know the Babadook episode we did is also on all podcast apps, and you can listen to it right now? I should stop shamelessly plugging our own show, but I'm not going to.
Exactly.
I feel like I should, because I did rewatch a couple movies for this list just so I could remember how it works with them. I should have done it with this, but we're on very limited time.
Well, not very limited.
But... Also, don't watch the American remake. I don't care. Don't.
I
know that's a normal movie buff thing to say, but don't.
I didn't even know there was an American remake, so thank you for informing me of that.
I forget what they named it.
But it wasn't one of those where like the titles are the same so you can confuse them.
It's very close to each. It's almost like it's the $10 rip-off type deal.
Let the wrong one in.
No, it was just called Let Me In.
Oh, okay.
Instead of Let the Right One In.
Gotcha. It's interesting. Yeah, I love movies with, good snow cinematography. Snow needs to be used way more often than it is.
Also, just the sets are very oppressive. Like, I don't know where they are in Sweden, but man, I don't want to be there. I just don't.
Nice. Well, then they did their job, I think, yeah?
Yeah.
All right.
Also, the practical effects are just rad as fuck.
Ooh.
Like, or if they're not practical, they look really good.
Hell yeah.
I can't say too much because spoilers, and I don't want to put too many spoiler warnings in this.
That's fair. We're trying to avoid spoilers whenever possible. So.
Anyway, I think that's about all I have to say. So.
Right, we're moving on to number 7. I like how we synced that up. All right, number 7. Number 7 is A Fistful of Yojimbo. Yes,
you want to explain that?
I will explain it. The one Kurosawa film that I limited myself to, because this again was a really close call. It was a really close call between Yojimbo and High and Low, because those were both just equally fantastic in my mind. But I decided to go with Yojimbo just because I saw it. I think I've seen it more times than High and Low, and it's in my eyes just a little more rewatchable. So Yojimbo is a film that kind of became known because it was remade. And you may have heard of a little director called Sergio Leone. He made a few famous hits, like The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, A Fistful of Dollars, Once Upon a Time in the West, just to name a couple.
And the fourth Resident Evil movie.
Yeah, who would have thought? It was released 20 years after he died. Yeah, he remade A Fistful of Dollars is practically a shot-for-shot remake of Yojimbo. Like, it follows the storyline to a T and basically takes the samurai setting of the film and transfers it to a West. And I'm not trying to undermine A Fistful of Dollars, because it's still a really good movie and a really solid spaghetti western. But when you watch Yojimbo and then you watch A Fistful of Dollars, you will realize, wow, we are hitting like almost exactly the same story beats, and some scenes are just lifted wholesale, except instead of swords, they're using guns. So yeah, but Yojimbo is a classic samurai film. It's about the wandering samurai, aka Ronin, played by the inimitable Toshiro Mifune. He will pop up several times when we see our Kurosawa list, because he was most famous for working with Akira Kurosawa. He was a regular actor, and he was in the vast majority of films that we are going to watch that are on the list. So
They don't know about that list.
Well, it's a good thing that all you know that our Kurosawa films are on there. So we'll get to it when we get to it.
Yeah, and someone might have put more than they were supposed to, because they're an indecisive whore.
Well, yeah, that's the one time I will whore myself out, because Kurosawa's worth it. But yeah, fucking Yojimbo is just a solid samurai movie, and it does actually like feel like, a western, which is why I think it became popular with Western audiences, because and Seven Samurai was more the film that was like way popular, like that was the one to watch. But the reason I would have put High and Low or Yojimbo, this one, over Seven Samurai is because, like, love exposure, Seven Samurai is 3.5 fucking hours and not exactly a like one I just, I'm in the mood, I'll pop it in. You have to take time out of your day to watch the Seven Samurai, and while I love it and it's still a great movie, this one's more rewatchable, and it's just such a solid samurai film. And the cinematography in this was well acclaimed because it did have a lot of long shots. Like, those shots in Westerns where there's like long shots and it's the hero walking and, the breeze is going by and you see like dust storms kicking up and stuff. This movie kind of pioneered that, which became like a staple of, classic Westerns later on. And it's just such a good movie. A little tidbit about it that I absolutely love is the villain. He has his outfit. He has, because everyone's dressed in feudal Japan. It takes place in feudal Japan, so everyone's dressed accordingly. But he has like this. He uses a revolver, and he has like this big old scarf that he wears on there for no reason. And I think he just had on one day, and I think he came up to Akira Kurosawa or something, and he was like, is this outfit appropriate? I know it wasn't exactly what they dressed like back then, and he kept it in literally just because it looked cool. Like, literally, that was his reasoning. Like, it looks cool, we'll keep it.
Nice.
But yeah, this is just a solid, and it's you all know the story, I'm sure. It's about a samurai comes to town, or you can replace it with a cowboy. Comes to town, find out there's some corrupt people there, and decides to win it back the old-fashioned style. So take care of the corruption in the city and free all the innocent people. It's such a simple setup, but the way he does it is fantastic. And it is in black and white, so it has this gorgeous black and white cinematography that I love. Yeah, so yeah, that, and just again, Toshiro Mifune's performance is always amazing. He had such range as an actor. In this one, he played the stoic badass. So, and he did such a good job at it, because it was the way he like moved, and the way like just his because he doesn't have a lot of lines, much like Clint Eastwood in the remake. But the way he just kind of looked around and just like handled himself and stuff. Like, he went up and he like scratched his beard a lot because he had kind of like a stubble going on, and just kind of played it like that, and it just turned out so well. He plays a very different character in Seven Samurai. Very different character. So that'll be fun to see. Yeah. So definitely recommend that one. With that, I hand it back to Justin for his number 7.
Well, let's go from black and white, to using just every color we can with Suspiria.
Fascinating. Hell yeah.
Suspiria, I didn't know where to put, honestly, and I think here at number 7 is a good place because, for all intents and purposes, as like just an objective looking at the film, it's kind of by the numbers slasher in a way.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's giallo before slashers existed, but
yeah,
it's just teen girls, gay, and some adults getting murdered. It's what happens. But the style added with Goblin soundtrack makes it fucking magical.
Hell fucking yes.
Puns, but puns for people who've seen the movie.
Yep.
And this is the only Argento film I have seen. I need to see more. If only that was on the list too at some point.
Oh, don't worry. You will, whether you like it or not.
And we still have not seen the remake, even though we said we might get to it we might watch it in our off time. I guess we could review it on the podcast if people ask us, but no one has. It just the atmosphere and confusion of the dance hall I adore so much. Just the first viewing, because due to the avant-garde colors and the way Argento films this area, you lose track of where you are. So when a character is talking about, like, where do the mistresses go, or where do the teachers go, you don't even know the answer. You don't even know if these dorm rooms are close to where the girls practice dancing, or if they're on the complete other side of the building. It has almost the Shining type feel where something just is off about the floor plan. And just, the fucking soundtrack, the opening track I love so much. It is quintessential just Halloween feel. The somewhat calm piano and strings mixed with, I don't know what to call the vocals of the song.
Yeah, because it's really just la 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 and witch.
Wait, do they actually say witch?
Literally, yeah. They just like it's like an echo effect on witch.
God damn it!
Right?
Wonder why they'd say such a thing. The deaths in it are also just they're stylized as hell. Like, the most famous scene is a girl getting hung and dropping through a stained glass window. It's fucking brutal, but beautiful.
It is. And he literally has, like, the close-up of her beating heart because he tore the chest open.
Yeah, the killers tear the chest open, stab her in her still beating heart. It's like, holy fuck. This is was it like 60s when that came out?
70s. Like
70s.
Yeah, it was like mid-70s when it came out.
Still, even for the 70s, that's fucking hardcore.
Yep.
The blood, even though it's clearly red paint, it adds a lot of brutality. Some of the scares in it also just work amazingly, especially near the end.
Mm-hmm.
It's all, even though the plot is simple, the style saves it so much as a movie.
Yeah.
I don't know how to end things.
Okay, so that's your number 7.
That was number 7.
6. Oh, yeah.
Suspiria.
Okay.
The original.
Right. Okay, so moving on to number 6. My number 6 comes to us from Hong Kong. It is Hard Boiled by John Woo.
Yay, one Justin can talk
Yeah,
about.
another one Justin can talk about. Hard Boiled is another action movie that is just fantastic. Can you tell we like action movies?
We do.
Yeah,
I love stupid ones.
Oh, fuck yes. And this just, it's so good. Like, again, a lot of critics consider the action scenes in Hard Boiled, again, to be among the best ever filmed. And they're just that good because John Woo has just such a over-the-top fucking style that he kind of lost when he, like, you know, had some of his American movies. Like, it was still silly, but it kind of got to the point where, you know, I think it's just, they stopped being as good as some of his older material.
It's mostly because he lost the plot, honestly.
Yeah, he lost the plot. Like, again, a lot of his early movies, they have fairly simple plots, but the action makes up for it. But I think, yeah, some of his plots get a little convoluted and more complicated and just not all that interesting or good.
And they're just too silly at times.
Yeah. Like, Hard Boiled and The Killer, they do a good job of balancing the super over-the-top action, but it's to the point where it's not, like bad, like you said, silly. I think that's the best word for it. It's not too silly that you're like, ah ha ha. You kind of get you get taken out of the movie. That was the phrase I was looking for.
Yeah, the story is grounded enough so that way it's not nailed to the ground, but it's close enough so that way you're not like, okay, this is just fucking dumb.
Yeah. But yeah, Hard Boiled was pretty influential as an action movie because when it hit the States, I think it was more popular in the States than it was in Hong Kong. Yeah.
I do not know.
But yeah, it was just the action scenes are just so well done, and the gun fu in the movie is fantastic. Like, and I would put this above The Killer just because I think it's just I think I just like the story better. Like the action scenes in The Killer I love, and this one has equally good action scenes, but it's just I think I like the plot and the characters better, frankly.
Yeah, I can't fucking say that.
Yep. If you want to hear our thoughts about The Killer, watch the episode on The Killer on Cinema Roulette.
It's available on all podcast apps and on YouTube at CamCam.
Yep.
Actually, I just realized, anytime I post a link to Spotify, it says Cinema Roulette by Justin Kopelski because I made the Anchor account.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, all the YouTube stuff is on your channel.
Yeah.
So
it evens out.
Fun.
And then the thing about Hard Boiled is we recommend watching Hard Boiled and The Killer subbed first, but absolutely check out the dub because it makes it so much. It's funny.
Oh,
it
the
makes it
dubs
hilarious.
are hilarious.
Oh god! And we mentioned it a little bit in the Killer episode, but yeah, the dub for Hard Boiled is equally bad and hilarious.
I watched it recently, the dub, and like the main love interest gets a Valley Girl accent, even though it doesn't fit her at all. It's great.
Oh, it's stupid as fuck, and that's why I say watch it seriously the first time, but after that, definitely check out the dubs. We recommend those just for unintentional hilarity.
Also, the Blu-rays have gone down in price, so I'd say grab them right now.
Like, Hard Boiled has always been, you know, a normal price, but for the longest time, The Killer was like $80 or $90, and it recently went down to like $25, and I was like, oh, I'm grabbing that for us.
I like quote-unquote the longest time from your perspective, because I'm pretty sure you started looking for it after we did the episode. Or slightly before.
It was still a good few months. So I think it was a little before that, because you had recommended The Killer to me before then, I think.
Might have.
But I think I was looking at like it might have been like a year or something. I don't think it wasn't a long time. You're right. It wasn't forever. But
yeah.
But yeah,
it's in print again, so go grab those on Blu-ray if you can.
But yeah, Hard Boiled, just again, great characters. It has Chow Yun-fat, I think is the name, right?
Yes.
As him, he's always good and stuff. And just the action again is just fantastic. There's not much else to say on
Because
that.
we put squibs everywhere.
Oh, everywhere. So many squibs. Just adds so much intensity to it. But yeah, I think that's my number 6. So your turn.
Hold on. I need. Mine is from. My number 6, I thought was going to be higher. But as I rearranged things, I needed to put it here. At this point, like 6-1, everything is very close to each other.
Mm-hmm.
Number 6 is actually a Singapore film.
Ooh.
Shirkers.
When I was 18, the thing I wanted more than anything was to make a movie.
Oh, damn it. I still need to watch it. Oh, man.
You have no excuse.
I don't. It's free on Netflix. I have no excuse.
And it's just barely over 90 minutes.
I will absolutely check it out soon. So,
so I'm going to have to not spoil shit because Cameron's editing this episode.
Because I mean, I know what the plot is, but I don't know how it's resolved. I mean, I think I actually know somewhat how it's resolved, but we're not going to spoil it for you viewers out there.
I don't know if you know the biggest turn in the story, but Shirkers is actually a documentary, which I don't watch many documentaries. Most of the stuff I watch is, if it is a documentary, is behind the scenes, the hour-long BTS stuff on Blu-rays.
Which that's always it's fascinating.
It is, and you can often find them free on YouTube because people just do that. Shirkers is the story of a woman who, as a kid, got friends together and some American to make a movie. The American said he was going to edit the film and then just disappeared with all the footage. Yet years later, after she had moved to, the main director of the film had moved to America, became a film critic, and rather cynical, gets all the footage back.
They found it.
They find all the footage, and it's about the making of that movie and the journey of figuring out who the hell this man was, because his name was fake.
The guy who was going to edit it?
Yeah, he used a fake name the entire time. And about where everyone went after the movie. I can't give too much away. It is a Netflix original, so if you have Netflix, like most, I'll be honest, most people do. Like, that's one of the main streaming services a lot of people have. Watch it. It was quickly dropped to the bottom because it's a Singapore documentary. They actually do. If subtitles scare you, most of the film they are speaking English because the main director of Shirkers had moved to America at this point. This is something that anyone who wants to get into movies should watch. It's, I don't know how to describe it, but the journey here is a lot about filmmaking, about the passion. Like, when you're looking back, seeing them as fucking high schoolers making this the film they made is a very trippy, weird horror movie, and it's avant-garde and it looks super weird. And they made this in high school, and just seeing the behind-the-scenes parts of the footage where of them being so happy just puts a big smile on my face. It's kind of beautiful in a way. I'm holding back a lot because there's so much to talk about, but it would be spoiling. This is a documentary where you need to go in just knowing the slightest bit, and that's it. Because it actually, they do pace it well enough so the twists and turns hit you.
Because this is a movie that I'm surprised that I haven't seen yet, because I love stories of like behind the scenes and like lost films and recovered films, like films that they thought were gone, but then they found them and had to restore them, and the whole story behind that. I love that shit. I'd look that up for fun. So something I'm
honestly, the reason I watched it is because of the poster. That was it. And then I read what it was about. It's like, oh, that sounds even doubly interesting.
Yeah, it's a documentary, and I love that shit. And that tore at my heartstrings. That put a smile on my face the way you described it. Aw.
Also, if you're not into documentaries, I still suggest watching it because this has the pacing of a story. So,
yeah,
because I know that's kind of the weird mentality people have with documentaries, where it's just people it's talking heads for 2 hours or whatever.
Well, there's a way to pace documentaries, and there's a way to do documentaries that some people don't get. And this is a little bit of a side tangent, but there have been 2 different times where I've seen locally produced documentaries at a film fest, and without going into detail about the actual film fest, because I don't want to get in trouble, we kind of got screwed over, because the one movie that I actually ended up winning for best independent feature or whatever the fuck it was, we got screwed because they showed it early in the night when no one was in the fucking theater. And then another movie that I did, they played a documentary before it that was just boring as sin. And we were just fucking falling asleep during it. This happened twice, actually. There were 2 films that we had in that film festival. And the first film, I was so mad the second time it happened. And I was just like, thanks. Yeah, you're going to screw us over by playing this boring 2-hour documentary where you can feel every single minute of it. And then you're going to play our movie once people start walking out? Fuck you. But there's what people don't get, and what I've seen firsthand is people don't know how to edit and pace a documentary. You can't just, present it from point A to point B. This is the facts. This is what happened. You have to have a certain pacing to it, and the narration and the voiceover and the way you cut it absolutely helps. And people do not get that with documentaries sometimes. So, and it's good to see, a documentary that possibly actually knows how to fucking make a documentary. Because, first step of a documentary, it has to be interesting.
If anything, this is less of a documentary and more of a video essay. That's the way the editing is. Mm-hmm. It's great.
So, yeah. Like you said, definitely recommend it. So
I do. And a Netflix original that was just buried once it came out. So
deserves more recognition.
Especially annoyed me when, I don't hate Tiger King or anything. I think it's a fine documentary. Mm-hmm. But it's like, wow, this is the best documentary I've ever seen on Netflix. I'm like, fucking Shirkers exist.
Because it did come out around the same time as that, didn't it?
No, Shirkers was 2 years before Tiger King.
2 years? Really?
Yeah, it was like 2018. Hold on.
Damn.
I was just looking at it. Yeah, it was 2018. Tiger King came out this year.
Holy shit.
Oh, well, 5 years ago, aka March-ish or April.
But yeah.
Anyway,
we going on to number 5?
To number 5.
Number 5. Number 5 is another film that we really can't talk about and can't really give too much away from. Number 5 comes to us again from Japan. It's One Cut of the Dead. One Cut of the Dead is a fantastic. It's a zombie movie, basically, is the setup. So, and
I think even saying that much is too.
Yeah.
No, we have to put a spoiler warning for One Cut of the Dead.
Okay.
I don't think there's a way to talk about it, honestly.
I mean, we knew it was
unless you have a way. You
well,
can go.
No, my whole thing is we knew it was a zombie movie, and that's it. I think that's vague enough.
Okay. If you have a way to keep it completely spoiler-free, go.
I don't, but I'm saying I don't think that's too much of a spoiler, is saying it has zombies.
I know, but I was thinking, I don't know what else to say besides this.
So this is going to be a short one. We did an episode on it, and this is one that we will just say, watch it beforehand. So just go watch One Cut of the Dead. It is fantastic. And yeah, I don't think there is, but I don't think I even want to talk about it. I just want to say this is a great zombie movie. It was made recently. What was it, like last year, 2 years ago?
Yeah, it was like last year or 2 years. I'll check.
But it's great the way it presents.
Oh, it was 3 years ago.
3 years ago, okay. The way it presents itself and the way it kind of works in a twist is great. So, yeah. Absolutely check this movie out. I think that's all I'm going to say.
It's on Shudder, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it's on Shudder, or you can buy the Blu-ray. But we will say this.
Yeah, the Blu-ray is now available in America.
Yeah.
So that's...
We will say this. The less you know about, the better. Go into this movie as blind as possible.
And also, if again, for people afraid of subtitles, I watched this film in a class situation. Even people who hate subtitles enjoyed this movie.
Yep.
So...
I think that's about all we can say on it. So, there you go.
Yep.
Number 5 is One Cut of the Dead. So, I give it to you for your number 5.
Okay, time for people to get mad at me because I'm putting this only at number 5 and not higher. Old Boy.
Okay, yeah, because the interesting thing is, Old Boy would probably be on my list, but I have not seen the film yet. So.
오늘도 역시 대충 수습이 안 된다. 난 이제 괴물이 돼버렸다.
I'm going to make sure, again, not to spoil anything.
Yeah.
But I rewatched this film because on the performances list, I do have the main character from Old Boy. I won't say which number, but you can go watch the episode and figure that out.
You recently rewatched this.
I did. This was one of the rewatches I did for this episode because it's been so long I didn't know where I wanted to put it. And that was the main, because I got like 10 to 7 done, and I was like, okay, now Old Boy number 6. I was like, is that really fair? I mean, it's considered such a classic. I need to go, and it's been years since I've seen it, so what? I need to do something for it. I need to check it out again. And without giving anything away, I forgot how fucking good this movie was. We're both gonna have number 5, so we just have to cut ourselves off. Weird coincidences. It happened.
Yep.
But the acting is stellar. The story is fantastically paced and done. The action scenes, when they happen, are brutal and just so fucking good. The main character is just... okay, this is going to sound like a stupid statement, but let me fucking explain. The main character is the star of the goddamn show. And I mean that in the sense of sometimes a side character can come in and steal a scene. No one takes it away from the main character here. The range of emotions and just the humanity that emanates off him is incredible. I should have probably put it higher on performances list.
Because like you said, it had been years since you've seen it. So
it had, and I forgot the subtleties. And again, without saying anything, there's a certain... I'll have to explain to you later when we do watch it. But there's a certain detail that I'll never be able to notice due to not speaking the language of the film.
Really? So there's like a little subtle line in there that you wouldn't get unless you looked it up?
It's actually the... Okay, you know the beginning step of the movie, correct?
Yes, I do.
Okay, since he would... Because it involves the main character being locked in a room 15 years and then is suddenly released, and he wants to figure out who locked him in there. He was only locked in there with a TV, and none of the guards would talk to him. According to what characters say to him, he speaks the way people on TV talk, not like he doesn't talk like a natural person anymore.
Really?
So for a lot of the movie, everyone's like, oh, you actually talk like that.
Really?
And I'll never, unless I learn the language, I'll never understand how that is unnatural, since, again, I don't have native ears. type
That
deal.
is such a cool and interesting detail. Huh.
There's a lot of those in the movie, and it's so fucking impressive to me. If you haven't seen Oldboy, do not watch the remake. Again, another one, I will say.
Yeah, no, this is definitely one where the remake is considered a bad movie. So,
and if for some reason you don't want to listen to my recommendation, just look up the hallway fight scene at least. It's awesome.
It's the most famous scene from the movie. Even I've seen the hallway fight scene.
It's a one take. It involves a hammer and just a lot of people getting the shit kicked out of them.
Yeah, and Arrow Video actually released a UK exclusive set of the whole Vengeance trilogy remastered and shit, and I have that, and I'm actually not going to watch it until I'm in person with Justin, because he wants to see my reactions to it.
At least Oldboy. You can watch the other ones if you wish.
Yes, I'm excited for that. That's going to be fun.
But yeah, not so much I can praise Oldboy without spoiling it.
Yeah, honestly.
We might do a dealer's bet when we do eventually watch it.
Yeah, true. Yeah, we could. That'd be fun. Yeah.
Oh wait, no, we want to do one thing.
The one thing?
The talking about other wheel ideas. I think we can mention it because we haven't.
Oh
made this wheel
yeah,
yet.
we do want to do that. Okay, I get it. Okay. Okay. I get it. Don't worry. So
I could say more.
We'll move on. We don't want to spoil the wheels for everyone.
Well, we don't know if we're going to make that wheel.
All right. Well, okay.
We haven't technically made it yet.
Go on.
No, you told me no. So now we're just going to move on to number 4.
I'm sorry, buddy.
Fuck, I need water. We've been talking.
Go right ahead.
No, you can go on and talk about your number
Okay.
4.
Justin will take a little water break while I do that. And, all right.
Oh, I think this has been sitting in my room too long. The water has gotten a weird taste.
Oh, does it taste kind of plasticky or sulfury?
Yeah.
Yep, that means it's been sitting out for too long.
Damn it.
Do you need to go get some water? Because I can wait.
No, I wetted my mouth enough.
Okay.
I took a big swig. Well,
my number 4 is The Third Man from Carol Reed, another UK entry.
Don't be so gloomy. After all, it's not that awful. Well, what the fella said. In Italy, for 30 years under the Borgias, they had warfare, terror, murder, and bloodshed, but they produced Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci, and the Renaissance. In Switzerland, they had brotherly love. They had 500 years of democracy and peace. And what did that produce? The cuckoo clock.
Now, this movie... What?
I'm just saying. I'm realizing I should have put The Third Man on my list somewhere. But anyway.
Yeah, all right. Well, just know if you had to redo it, it'd probably be on there. You would just know that.
It probably would. It might replace Hardcore Henry.
So yeah, The Third Man. And this movie is a very, very famous film noir, technically. And the reason that it's so high on the list, like I think I would have been higher, but I put another movie and we'll get to that. But The Third Man is a movie that not only is a fantastic noir and foreign movie and just thriller in general, it's one that's really, really easily accessible because the pacing and the editing of the movie plays out surprisingly modern for a movie made in 1949. And
yeah.
Oh, go on. I was going to let you talk. I didn't know you.
I actually got recommended this movie by Stucky Films because she's a video essay person and she had Curious Cat, and I asked, what are some films you'd recommend people to see? This was one of them, and I immediately checked out. This was when I was first getting into movies or watching older films. The editing is surprisingly modern. Like, I couldn't even tell it was an older film.
Yeah. And the way this movie's cinematography done is so interesting because it's very famous for its use of Dutch angles. And the way the camera is tilted a lot just adds kind of this, like, it just adds immensely to the atmosphere of the film. And like, because it takes place in actually in about the same time the movie was made in a Vienna, where like the city was kind of bombed out due to, you know, all the raids in London in the 40s and all that. And it has a lot of social commentary of stuff that was actually happening at the time. Orson Welles is in the movie. I'm not going to spoil anything about the movie, but I'm just saying Orson Welles in the movie, and his performance, as usual, is just fucking fantastic.
God, his voice could read. His voice could read a fucking receipt and it would still be engaging.
Oh, I know. Like, honestly, he has one of the greatest voices ever, period. So, his performance is fantastic. Carol Reed's the director. I feel bad that I forget the main guy, the actor's name who played him, but he also does a fantastic job. And just the style of this movie is so fucking good, and the mystery of it is very engaging, and the plot just moves at a very fast pace, and it helps because the editing also is very fast, like we said. So it just helps immensely with this movie, and just how, again, easily accessible it is for a modern audience. It's one that I would say, you know, it's one that I'd recommend to people just getting into films, or like people want to get, you know, more into foreign films and stuff like that. It's an easy recommendation because it's so accessible. It's just really well done. When it comes to noirs and just, you know, old classics in general, it's absolutely one of the best ever made, I would say. So
that's 100% agreeable.
Yeah, number 4 is The Third Man. Definitely check that out, especially if you're newer to films. That's about all I have to say on that. So I'll pass it over to you for number 4.
Wow, what a nice cinematic classic. Anyway, my number 4 is Snatch.
It's funny because Snatch almost made this list as well.
Give me a name.
No, no. Boris. Boris the Blade? Yeah. As in Boris the Bullet Dodger?
Why do they call him the Bullet Dodger?
Because he dodges bullets heavy.
I should have put Hot Fuzz on this list at some point, but I don't know why there's a part of me that doesn't mentally count Hot Fuzz as a foreign film, even though it totally is.
Well, it is, and like it would have been super high. Like maybe part of you felt that was kind of cheating because it's such a good fucking movie.
It is, or I honestly don't know why it's not on the list. Basically, you could put that at number 2 or number 1 when I get there. Make this a top cut off Hardcore Henry. There you go. But number 4, Snatch. Is that actually? Hold on. Yeah, I think that's my only UK pick. Huh.
Interesting.
Or English in this case.
Proper English.
Snatch is the better Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels.
Yeah. It has kind of that Evil Dead. Sorry, I was just gonna say it has the kind of that Evil Dead effect where the second movie is clearly what they wanted to do with the first movie, but they did it better.
Yeah, or maybe it's a sequel. It's weird where canonically this is because it kind of has the same characters, but I think they're under different names.
Mm-hmm. Well, it has most of the same cast. Like I think almost all of the actors from Lock, Stock are in Snatch.
Yeah, and without giving anything away, this is a quote-unquote simple gangster movie. You got drug deals, you got owing people money, you got blackmail, you got robbing. But what Snatch does fantastically is all these plot lines come together without giving too much away, in the most chaotic fucking way possible.
It's fantastic.
There's all these threads on the opposite sides of the room, and they all crash together like two fucking planes in midair. It's great.
Oh, sorry, go on.
It's isn't it Guy Ritchie who directed these?
That's correct. Right?
Yes. It's Guy Ritchie at his fucking best, and he tried to recapture this with The Gentleman. Didn't fully succeed, but The Gentleman is still very good. What were you going to say?
I say, because Lock, Stock, and Snatch, they were very famous for using a trope called a comedy of errors. And that's just, an event that happens and things just keep happening, and it just keeps kind of spiraling more and more out of control as it goes on. And it uses that to really good comedic effect because these movies have a lot of dark humor in them, and they're equal parts thrilling and hilarious.
Yeah, Lock, Stock has a good couple of laughs. Snatch has me on the floor a lot of the time.
Yeah, with how ridiculous it gets, yes.
The fact there's a point where someone speaks so British they need subtitles is fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
Or there's Brad Pitt, who, is it like in the actual subtitles for the movie, it just becomes question marks at one point?
Yes, because, Brad Pitt plays he plays a gypsy, and in the UK there is a derogatory slang term, so we apologize for gypsies, called pikeys. And there's a subtitle dialogue that has, I think it's like pikey dialogue or something like that just follows his character. And there's a point where, like, Brad Pitt went off and he said something in such a thick accent that he probably just said gibberish, where it's like, it's subtitling him and the subtitles literally just go, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark.
It's so fucking good.
It's hilarious.
It sucks not to spoil things, because if I could, or if I wanted to put more time on the camera, I give a spoiler warning. But it's not really needed. This film is just, it's fucking funny. The comedy of errors when they do finally all cross paths is hilarious.
Yes.
And also can be kind of tense, especially near the end.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so funny because in both those movies, like, the thing that they're trying to solve could have just been solved right there and then. But it keeps going because they're all fucking idiots.
Everyone's so fucking stupid, or not taking a moment to think that everything gets worse.
They're either A, just really stupid, or B, just blissfully unaware of what's actually going on.
It's like a Rube Goldberg machine goes off, and at the end, it looks like it's about to knock a baby off an edge. It's like, oh, it just missed it. Then someone comes over and fucking punts the baby into the sun.
Yep, it just keeps going because... Oh, it's great.
It just gets worse, and it's hilarious.
Yeah, and something that absolutely adds to that is Guy Ritchie's absolutely chaotic editing style.
He is breaking your goddamn neck with these cuts.
It's so fast and so in your face. Like, every time, like, the one dude, I forget, with the mustache, the guy who, like, appraises the diamonds, every time, like, something happens, like, he has to keep traveling back and forth. It's just, like, cuts to, like, ching! Him drinking the glass, airplane taking off, and just, they use that cut every single time he travels back and forth.
Oh, yeah, and even though we were making fun or calling quick cuts bad, here you can actually know what's going on.
He uses the quick cuts as a way to enhance the chaoticness and the comedy of it. Just like, there's a scene in Hot Fuzz that's referenced in the one video essay. Is it Movies with Mike who does that? Who does that one?
No, that was Every Frame of Painting.
Every Frame of Painting has that, but it's very similar to that, how it uses the fast cuts and the editing to good comedic effect.
And to quickly establish things.
Yes. Like, instead of, showing him going to the airport and all that and just getting a ticket and blah, blah, it's just cut, he's there.
Good, save time.
Yep. And the soundtrack is great for both of the movies.
Yes. Oh, the soundtrack is bitchin'.
Hell
yeah. I think that's about it for my number 4.
Alrighty. Moving on to the top 3, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so there are 2 directors I haven't mentioned yet. One of them is going to be mentioned right now. And his name
I would assume so.
And, well, so before I say his name, this one and you'll know who I'm talking about once I say it. This film comes to us from Germany, and it is by a man named Fritz Lang. I absolutely adore Fritz Lang. And, excuse me, I apologize for that.
Rude.
He's one of my favorite, not only film directors of all time, but he's one of my favorite film pioneers. shows, because you see some of the early films, like, by directors such as D.W. Griffith or F.W. Moranu, and stuff like that, or some of the German Expressionism, and, a lot of it kind of doesn't hold up, or a lot of it hasn't aged well. In the case of D.W. Griffith, not only because of some racial issues, but Fritz Lang is one of those directors where even his early silent films are absolutely fantastic. And from a film perspective, I just appreciate the shit out of how well Fritz Lang makes his films. Like, from a sheer technical standpoint, his films were so high above a lot of the other films at the time, it's not even funny. And what I have on here is actually not a silent film, because Fritz Lang was not only innovative in his editing and his cinematography for his early silent films, he was also ridiculously innovative for his early sound films. And the way that he used sound in a lot of, in his first sound movie was M. And the way he used sound in that movie to, the different cues and the cue cuts and that stuff, was absolutely brilliant. It's very similar to what Orson Welles did for, radio cues. Like, he would have transitions between audio, with the audio to smoothly transition between a scene. And it just brought the movie to a whole nother level. But this one is actually not M. This is the one he made right after that, called The Testament of Dr. Mabuse.
Die Seele der Menschen muss in ihren tiefsten Tiefen verängstigt werden durch unerforschliche und scheinbar sinnlose Verbrechen. Verbrechen, die niemandem Nutzen bringen, die nur den einen Sinn haben, Angst und Schrecken zu verbreiten.
Der letzte Sinn des Verbrechens ist eine unbeschränkte Herrschaft des Verbrechens aufzurichten. Einen Zustand vollkommener Unsicherheit und Anarchie.
The Testament of Dr. Mabuse is actually a sequel, technically. Because there was a film, I think it was 1914. It was really early on. No, it was, I think, maybe 20s. I don't know. It was really early on, and it was. I said the title already, right? No, I didn't.
Yeah.
I did not. It was called Dr. Mabuse, the Gambler, and that film was apparently really good. I have the Blu-ray, but the problem with that movie is it's 4 hours long.
Fuck off.
And it is divided into two parts. I think there are two separate discs with each half, but it's 4 hours. And you really don't need to watch it because the Testament of Dr. Mabuse actually recaps the first movie, so you know what's going on. But not only his cinematography was fantastic in the film, but the way that, again, he used sound was brilliant, because the opening scene is actually completely silent, save for, like, da-dung, da-dung, da-dung of machinery going on, because it's a spy who's, like, hiding out in a factory, and he's looking at all the other people, and you just hear da-dung, da-dung, da-dung the whole time, and he looks at, like, the two people as they go out, and it's such a cool effect. But one of my favorite cuts in the whole movie is there's two characters trapped in a room, and a bomb is going off, and you hear tick, 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 as the bomb's slowly going off, and then the scene fades to black, and the ticking is still going, and then it fades in, and it's a guy eating an egg going tick, 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 tick to crack the egg open. It's such a clever cut, and he uses that all throughout the movie, even when transitioning to dialogue scenes, because there's a scene where, like, an explosion happens and a guy narrowly avoids it, and it cuts to the inspector named Inspector Loman. It's just him going fire, and it transitions into that scene. It's great, and it's cuts like that just were so innovative at the time, and just the way he used sound just blows me away. That's way up there, because not only is it a really good movie, like, the editing style still plays out. Again, it's a movie made in 1931 in Germany, and it still plays out surprisingly modern. It's kind of like The Third Man, maybe less so in parts, but it's such a good movie, and it's one that I adore from a technical standpoint. Just all of his movies were so goddamn good, and it's one that I wish I would have put on there over The Big Heat, because that's not a good introduction to the man. Still mad about that.
We needed to watch The Big Heat.
We did, and I'm still mad about that one. But Yeah, this is a classic. And the thing that sucks about Testament of Dr. Mabuse is it's not available on Blu-ray outside of Europe. So unless you have a region-free DVD player, like I do, and a copy of the Region 2 Blu-ray that you imported, like I do, your best bet is the Criterion DVD. Which is the Blu-ray uses the same source, so it's just it still looks good. You know, it's a movie made in the 30s, but I wish they would re-release it overseas. Come on, Criterion, do it.
Or, of course, you could get a legal download
Yes.
of the Blu-ray.
Absolutely, but it's like Criterion. You upgraded M to Blu-ray. Come on, you own the rights to it over here, guys. Please. It's one that absolutely needs to be seen, especially if you're into early sound films or, you know, just early, you want a good classic in general. This is one to definitely check out. And it was so far ahead of its time, technical wise, it's not even funny. Right, so now that I'm done sucking off Fritz Lang, it's your turn for number 3.
Jesus fucking Christ. So here's a movie we haven't talked about in a long while. My number 3 is Hard Boiled. Now, the thing about Hard Boiled, because we did already talk a good chunk about it, is I was debating Hard Boiled and the other 2 Raid movies, because all of them are fantastic action films. But I rewatched Hard Boiled just on a whim. It wasn't even for this episode. And I started to realize, even though the Raid may have more brutal action scenes because, you know, just tech and style kind of went up, because future.
Yeah. I mean, for God's sake,
my brain is...
For God's sake, Hard Boiled was made in 1992. So...
What's it, 90s?
Yeah,
I thought it was 80s.
Early 90s. It was 92.
So when the 80s was still trying to die.
Yep.
But Hard Boiled, besides having some of the best fucking shootouts in cinematic history, especially that hospital scene with all the squibs, just...
That finale is just fantastic.
The Raid movies have very simple plots, and like we mentioned earlier with Raid 2, the Raid 2 one, it's all right. It's a hard average.
It's serviceable, basically.
Yeah, it allows us to get to the action scenes. Hard Boiled actually has a really good plot. It may be a bit generic of cop trying to bust drug dealers type deal, with slight corruption going on. I would say that's a spoiler, but it's said in the first, 5 minutes.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
So I don't feel too bad about that. And that plot really saves it, and the growth between the 2 main leads and the character arc they have is actually really nice.
It really
is. And they sell it really well. Even in the fucking hilarious dub, it still works. I think that's the other thing that saves it so much is even watching it with a shitty dub, it's still a fantastic movie. I don't know if the Raid would have survived a shit dub.
Mm-hmm.
If it would be watchable with a shit dub type deal. Because bad dubs are funny. They're enjoyable in a lot of ways. But when a movie already has an alright plot, a bad dub doesn't usually save it type deal.
Because the funny thing about the Raid movies, real quick, is the first one doesn't even have a dub, and the second one does have a dub, but I didn't watch it that way. I know you did.
The dub is perfectly passable.
Yeah.
We have come a long way since 90s Hong Kong dubs.
Yes. Dear Lord.
We actually get actors.
Because voice acting...
Jim from accounting.
Because I think voice acting was taken a lot more seriously after a certain point. So...
Oh, he took it seriously in animation, but then, in live action movies, it's just, Americans are stupid. Get Jim from accounting to voice this guy.
Yep.
And then you see this, 60-something Asian man, and he's like, "Hi there."
Yeah. Or it falls in the trap of a horribly racist stereotype, which always uncomfortable.
Oh yeah, those age great. And also, without giving anything away, compared to The Killer, I enjoy Hard Boiled's ending a lot more.
Same.
But yeah, that is my number 3.
And then real quick, I think that's why I put Hard Boiled above it too, is again, the relationship between the characters is nice, but at the same time, the ending and the plot is a little more uplifting than The Killer. So
yeah,
that's what saved it for me too, is I liked the ending and the plot a lot better. So
also just those fucking action scenes, man.
So good.
The way that hospital falls apart, all the windows shattering, all the squibs going off in the wall. In case you don't know, a squib is a tiny explosive often used to show destruction. Like when you see someone in a movie shoot a car and a part of it and the paint chips, that's often and sparks, that's often a squib. Or when they're when someone is shot in the chest and their arms are at their side and blood goes everywhere, that's also a squib.
Once you see it, you'll never be able to unsee it.
Remember, you can't have your arms in front of you because it's still an explosive.
Yep. But he took like squibs and like, you know, destruction, environmental destruction, and just gung fu and all that. He just took that and kind of made it an art form, honestly. Like the way
he invented gung fu.
Yeah, he did. He practically invented gung fu. But just, you're right, the way he like used squibs and just used the environment and all that, it just made the action scenes so much more visceral and memorable that it wasn't even funny. Like,
must have been such a bitch to shoot things like the opening tea house shootout with all the bird cages breaking and all the explosions and extras,
and one of them like all just going down the stairs and he's sliding down, and I'm like, Jesus Christ.
So cool. And how he takes out the final guy.
Fuck yeah, just mwah. We're not gonna spoil it, but mwah. And again, just the setup for that must have been a bitch, because you know the famous one take once he goes down the elevator and just goes around shooting people. That setup,
hospital.
That setup must have been a bitch. Just that one long, I think it's like a 5-minute take or something of just a single shot going throughout the hospital, but it's so cool and so well done.
Yeah.
And then my number 2 is not going to be a long one because, again, we've already talked about it. It's Suspiria.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know which Argento film you were going to choose.
Yeah, this was, I will talk about this again because this was a really close one. It was a really hard decision between Suspiria and Deep Red. Those are my 2 top favorite Argento movies, and which one, I think they're both equally enjoyable in my eyes, but gun to my head, I would choose Suspiria, because Suspiria is the movie that introduced me to Dario Argento. And it's you know, Justin as well, and because it's basically just the perfect introduction to the man. Like, his style and everything just kind of came together in that movie in just such a perfect way. And it's not too weird that, you know, you can't, or too slow paced that you can't get into it. It's just, it's so well done. Like, just, and again, just the cinematography and the music and everything, the way it just comes together and just how trippy and weird it gets is so good. Cause Suspiria is just, I think it's just a better paced movie, if I'm being honest. Cause Deep Red does take some time to slow down and introduce yourself to the characters, and Deep Red, Giallo thrillers, like you said, like Justin said earlier, were a precursor to slasher films, and they were very popular in the 70s in Italy. And a lot of times there were a lot of tropes of it. The tropes of it were basically slasher tropes, these long, drawn-out death scenes, like the use of like sex and gore, you know, that's completely unfiltered and uncensored, and just, you know, basically making the death scenes a set piece in a sense. And, you know, having a central mystery, and a lot of times it is a mystery killer, and a lot of times you do see like the POV of the glove and the knife and everything, and that's what Deep Red did. And Deep Red has slight supernatural moments, not really, not super high. It has, without giving anything away, there's a psychic in it, so, and she can like kind of sense evil, but that's about all it does. Suspiria was Dario Argento's first entry into straight up supernatural horror, and it flowed so well, and it kind of took his earlier giallo movies and kind of elevated, because people, if they go too crazy or too over the top with it, sometimes it doesn't work, and sometimes they jump the shark, for lack of a better comparison. But the supernatural elements kind of took what Argento already was fantastic at and elevated them to, in a sense. Because his earlier slashers, it was called the Animal Trilogy, I'm pretty sure, because it was The Bird with the Crystal Plumage, The Cat of Nine Tails, and The Four Flies on Grey Velvet. And then after that, he did a comedy no one cares about, and then he did Deep Red, which Deep Red is my favorite one that's just a straight-up mystery slasher so far. I think Tenebrae is also straight-up mystery slasher, but I haven't seen that one. So... But Deep Red is also... Deep Red was the first movie Argento got Goblin, so you can't go wrong there. And the theme to Deep Red is equally as memorable as Suspiria. But I think Suspiria just kind of comes together so much better than Deep Red, and that's why it's number 2, because I am a sucker for Argento. And that's what introduced me to his style, which I just fell in love with, and I'm like, I need more of this in my life. So...
Fair enough.
Yeah, that's my number 2. So passing it back to you.
My number 2 was another that I needed to rewatch in order to judge, because it was a toss-up between 2 movies from the same director of Kar-wai.
Ooh, okay.
I would like to say as well, for anyone who enjoys I have not seen In the Mood for Love. I know that's considered his best film. I have not seen it yet. All I can... So, this... I don't think we said this at the beginning. Anytime we do a top 10 list, this is top 10 blank so far. Because, again, we're going to obviously watch more foreign movies as time goes on. So this list will change eventually.
You're right. It is important to stress that this, at this point in time, is our favorite foreign movies. This is subject to change. So...
Yeah. It would be fucking stupid for me to be like, this is my top 10 foreign movies. This is how it's going to stay when I have hardly 30 to choose from.
Yeah. No.
But I originally thought I was going to put Chungking Express on here, because that movie is a feeling. It's... I mean, it has a plot. It's not just a complete art house film, but there's a feel to it. However... a lot of people compare it to Fallen Angels, and I had seen Fallen Angels, but I didn't remember much of it. I didn't remember the feel, because I've seen Chungking Express at least 3 times, I think, because I had to watch it for 3 different classes. So I decided to rewatch Fallen Angels, and I gotta say, that one is my number 2.
I'm gonna get you all, man. Yeah, I'm gonna get you.
And the main reason is, without giving anything away, Chungking Express is 2 separate stories in one film, which they kind of meet, but not really. It's kind of like an anthology, but only 2 stories. And the first half... I'm only okay on. It's the second half that I adore. Fallen Angels, I like all the way through. So...
that's 100% fair.
That's where that wins. And it was very much... This goes by, we mentioned it earlier, Evil Dead sort of syndrome, where Chungking was the director getting comfortable with something and using the budget they had. The next movie feels a lot more like something they want to do, or in this case, how he wanted to experiment more. The mood of Fallen Angels is, I would want to say, a walk at night during the fall. Like you're still comfortable in a sweatshirt, but also the cold, alone, like the loneliness of night. And there's Justin getting artsy for 2 seconds.
That was beautiful. Yeah, I love it when you get artsy.
Gorgeous. But that's the mood. That's the feel of this movie. It's lonely. Even though it is about 2 people kind of falling in love. And the experimentation And instead of completely separating the film into two different stories, the two stories, it goes like back and forth between them, like an A plot and a B plot, but both are equally important here. And just something about the stylization, even going further with the stylization than Chungking Express, and having action scenes that are done like through basically freeze frames and quick cuts. It's so odd to watch, but also kind of mesmerizing. There's just this whole atmosphere to the movie that sticks with you. Oh, and it stuck with me a lot more than Chungking, even though both are fantastic movies. And even though, like, we mentioned putting Hardboiled above the Killer due to the endings, there's kind of an opposite effect with Fallen Angels and Chungking Express, which, if you've seen all of those movies, you understand what I'm saying, but I can't say too much because spoilers. But the way Fallen Angels ends is just, it's not comforting, but I don't know how to put it into words. I'm trying to think of it.
I'm noticing a lot of movies with isolation and loneliness, like the vampire one and this one.
I have no idea. Justin, have you ever been depressed before? No, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Well, I guess I like it when people that are able to show more emotion than just show more vulnerability.
No, exactly. I was more joking with that one, but
fucking better be.
I was. I'm sorry.
Also, Fallen Angels has better humor because the B plot is a guy who can't speak, and but he runs people's businesses at night. Not that he's supposed to; he just does. And he will actively annoy people at night until they give him money to go thing he is trying to sell.
That's great.
And there's dark humor to Fallen Angels. It's just a lot. It's a drive. It's either a walk or a drive in the middle of an night. It's just so good. If you get a chance, well, actually, fuck, I don't even need to say that. This is a top 10 good movie list. Of course we're saying watch all of them.
Exactly, yeah. That goes without saying.
Yeah, I need to watch In the Mood for Love at some point.
And I haven't seen any of his movies, so you've seen more of his than I have. Good job.
Do you want to do honorable mentions before we get to number one? Or should we just
sure,
go?
I may as well, because you said you didn't have any, really?
Besides ones I've mentioned, like Third Man, the Raid movies.
And a lot of these, these were kind of just decisions I had to be I had to debate in my mind a lot of them. Like I already mentioned Deep Red, High and Low, Love Exposure, Snatch. Metropolis, I was also debating that between that or Testament of Dr. Mabuse, but I just had to go with Testament of Dr. Mabuse just because, again, not only innovative in cinematography, but also sound. So I had to put that one there. One of them was actually the original Django, because that was just a fantastic all-around spaghetti western. I definitely give that an 8 out of 10, but I didn't like it more than any of the other movies on the list. And
Fair
another
enough.
one was I think it's Swedish, actually. Let me double check that just to make sure, because I'd feel terrible if I got that wrong.
I will add a honorable mention that I just thought of, F for Fake, because I don't know if it counts. Because it's when Orson Welles moved out of America to go make movies in England, but I don't know if an American studio produced it. I'd have to look into to see if it is technically a foreign film.
It's a weird gray area.
Yeah.
No, it was not a Swedish film. It was a Czech film. Sorry. And it was a sci-fi film called Ikari XB1. This is actually one that a reviewer I mention all the time, Glenn Erickson, Cinema Savant, recommended. So that's one of his favorite sci-fi movies. and it's just a really fucking good sci-fi movie. It's one of those ones that was kind of ahead of its time because it was made in 1963, and it's one of those ones because, you know, at that time sci-fi was still more silly and corny and not really taken seriously until arguably fuck, I'm drawing a complete blank and I'm gonna feel like a moron. 2001: A Space Odyssey. Like, that was when people started to realize, oh, we can do sci-fi seriously. But this one was released in the early 60s, and it was a serious sci-fi movie that had a, like, again, I know it's a little repetitive. I was trying to think of a different word, but it had a more serious tone to it, and it was just very well done. About like kind of this crew that goes into space and they're trying to reach a certain place, but hey, that rhymed.
It did.
But they find like this space station, and then something happens where like one of the crew gets infected and they're going around like all crazy and shit. It's really well done, and it was re-released as Voyage to the End of the Universe, because that's what you'll find on Google if you just search Ikari XB1, but that was a re-edited version for the Americans. And since this was a Czech film made in the 60s, they didn't have too many nice things to say about American. There was some subtle social commentary that they cut out of the re-release in the over here. So famous line from it is "Tigger fun for everyone," or it's not a line, it's something that's written on it, but it's clearly supposed to be like some like commentary on the Americans at the time, but it's just a really solid sci-fi film. And I also was going to I was considering Lady Snowblood. That was under a maybe because I didn't make it where I was like, it's still good, but it's not. I wouldn't consider it one of the best foreign films ever. Just a really good samurai movie.
Yeah, that one is under just solid for me as well.
Yep. Yeah, still a really good film, but I wouldn't consider it, one of the best foreign movies ever made. Yeah. And so, do you want me to go ahead with my number one?
Also, some other honorable mentions like Mad Max 2 and Fury Road. They're technically Australian movies.
Mm-hmm.
Better Watch Out. I forget if that was Australia or New Zealand where that film was made. But that is a solid Christmas movie that you should go in completely blind to because the trailer ruins it.
Oh, is that the one we watched?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, yeah, don't watch the trailer. Go into that one blind, because that one blew my fucking mind when I watched it.
I don't know if it's still on Prime or not. You can check your local listings.
Yes, but definitely check it out. So, you think what?
I forget if It Follows was outside America as well.
It might have been. I don't know.
It might have been. Again, my honorable mentions may not even be technically foreign. Some of them may not be foreign films due to technicality, but fuck it.
Like it was made somewhere else, but it was a production of America. So.
Yeah. What do you mean? Mission Impossible is my favorite foreign movie. They're not in America.
Yeah, fucking right. Yeah. They're in Dubai. See?
Alice is in Wonderland, which is not America. So...
God damn it. I can't believe they actually went to Wonderland to film it.
And the honorable mention of anime, because it would have destroyed the list.
We have to have that. We have to have anime as an honorable mention, because, like we said, that would have overtaken the list. It would have been more than half, if not all of our movies probably would have been anime. So we're huge runner-up there. So, but this is...
Actually, also, besides... And no, this isn't just for me to shamelessly plug, but El Mariachi was pretty close, because that is a solid indie Mexican action film.
Hell yeah. And Desperado was not actually foreign, right? That was made in America?
I don't know. That one's a gray area.
Well, we know El Mariachi was, because Robert Rodriguez, right?
Yes.
Literally just went to a town in Mexico and said, yo, you want to do this?
Yeah, a lot of the people were just like, were people from the town and being like, hey, do you want to help make a movie?
And again, the way it turned out, knowing how shoestring the budget and a lot of these people were non-actors, it turned out so surprisingly good.
Can't wait to get Desperado at some point.
Anyway, is it good for number one?
you can go to your number one.
It's your favorite foreign movie.
Now, yes, of course, I've mentioned Akira Kurosawa, I've mentioned Fritz Lang, I've mentioned Dario Argento, and my number one comes also from Italy. It's interesting because the two are Italian films, Suspiria, and this one comes from a man named Sergio Leone, and it is, in fact, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
You see, in this world, there's two kinds of people, my friend. Those with loaded guns, and those who dig. You dig.
Now,
is it the woman from Italy?
Yeah, it is not, in fact, the woman from Italy.
Good.
But no, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, this was a hard one. It was a toss-up between Suspiria and Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, of which one was number one, but Good, the Bad, and the Ugly made it for several reasons, because not only, you know, I could praise Sergio Leone all day, that's been done to death, like, he's obviously one of the greatest Western directors of all time, and just directors, period, because cinematography, technical standpoint, just all fantastic, and he basically, he when you think spaghetti Western, you think Leone. But Good, the Bad, and the Ugly made it to number one because not only do I fucking love the movie, but it made it because it's kind of a combination of all of the positive traits of the movies beforehand. The movie has a ridiculously fantastic soundtrack, courtesy of Ennio Morricone, I think is how you say it. Forgive me if I'm butchering it. The man died, I think, just last year. May he rest in peace. But he also actually, his most recent one, I think, was The Hateful Eight.
Huh.
Yeah, that was the guy who did all the Leone westerns, Ennio Morricone. But the soundtrack was fantastic. The style was fantastic. It's a heavily stylized film, and the editing is, you know, very fast paced, and the action scenes are quick and all that. But it is also a movie that's 3 hours long, and it holds your attention most of the time. Like I would say it does not hold it as good as Love Exposure. I would say that. But
that's a high bar.
I know it's a high bar. Yeah, it still flies by because I didn't even know it was 3 hours long until we looked it up. I'm like, oh god, it's 3 hours long. Shit. But it flows nicely. But it's also easily accessible as well because it's kind of like the Letterboxd reviews on Love Exposure, where, you know, everyone that has seen most people consider The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly a huge classic. Like, a lot of people say, oh, you need to watch The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, even though it is a foreign film from Italy, and it's 3 hours long, easily. I think it's over 3 hours, but so many people, even in America and around the world, say that this is a classic movie that you have to watch, and a lot of people genuinely enjoy it, you know, besides film buffs. And it's just one that I am still kind of surprised that it's easily accessible, but, you know, I'm not surprised at all that, you know, his movies were successful in America, because, you know, he kind of tailor-made them for America. I mean, Westerns, that's it's an American thing that the Italians were fascinated with, I guess, which is why they made so much of them. So.
Also, going back a bit, being fair, a reason Italian movies were probably popular in America is because Italy was surprisingly good at dubbing.
Oh, yeah. And you'll see that in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly as well. Like well, it helped you know you had Clint Eastwood, who was an American actor. But yeah, when you watch Suspiria, do watch the dub because you couldn't even tell that it was, you know, it's an Italian film.
Okay, it's not that you can't tell it's not dubbed, because there are some side characters who have iffy reads.
There are some side characters, and there's like one, maybe two scenes where the lips don't match, but it's shockingly well done for the time period, especially compared to other dubbed movies of that time.
I'm pretty sure how do you say his name correctly?
Sergio Leone.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he didn't record audio on cell all the time and just let people speak their native language.
Yep.
so they looked natural.
And exactly. And then when they went in the booth, they matched it up, and they were scary good at ADR. Like, even back in the 60s and 70s, the Italians, from a technical standpoint, were so good at that.
Tell others how to do that in time. Yeah. Jesus Christ.
But yeah, again, it's just a combination of the popularity of the movie, the style, the soundtrack. It's kind of a combination of all the best things that were on this list. And that's why it's number one, because not only is it impressive from a technical and a stylistic standpoint, but it's very popular with audiences and people still love it, even regardless of its length. So that is my number one.
But anyway, my number one is, again, a film we haven't talked about in a while. It's One Cut of the Dead.
Okay.
Now, hey, I'm going to wrap up. Let's give a small wrap up for anyone who still has to see One Cut of the Dead, because I'm going to spoil it.
Okay, so yeah, since we're at number one, and since you've heard the rest of the list, we're spoiling it from here on out. So if you haven't watched the movie, go watch it. Period.
Yeah. Thank you for if you are going to be leaving us right about now. Thank you for listening.
Yes.
You can follow us on Twitter at Roulette Cinema. Cameron is at Cameron Picks Inc. I'm at JK Pancake. If you just want to follow us separately, you can find us on YouTube at CamCam, and we are on all the podcast apps.
Yep. You can find the link on our Twitter. We have a link tree, and it's in the description below usually. So
yeah, we're even on Amazon Podcasts now, and you can. And if you'd like to rate or subscribe to us, that'd be really cool of you.
Yes. And I've wanted to switch my Twitter handle from Cameron Picks Inc. to CamCam, but CamCam was already taken, and the other words didn't feel right, and so many people have already tagged me that would lose that tag. So kind of screwed in that.
Fuck it.
Yeah, but I'm still CamCam. So
yes. Okay. Are they all gone now?
Wait. One more's going out the door. Okay, now they're gone.
Jarek, you too.
Jarek, I know you're listening. Go watch the movie if you haven't. Sorry, buddy. Bye.
Follow at Weeby Gamers on Twitter.
Another shameless plug.
Shameless.
Oh,
okay. So besides the people who deserve their kneecaps to be busted in because they're still sticking around, One Cut of the Dead. This movie, the reason this is my favorite is because I'm assuming everyone who's still here has seen it at this point or knows what happens, whatever. It gives me hope. It's a weird thing to say, but when you're getting into making movies,
I know exactly where you're going with this. You're fine. You don't have to say that to me. Yeah.
You find films where it inspires you to make movies, and One Cut of the Dead is just solidly one of those films, both in oddly fitting way, both in a meta way and in the text. Because the meta way, it's a film made for $25,000, and it's fucking fantastic. I'm pretty sure you have to be the most cynical motherfucker to hate this movie.
I've seen no reviews, and I've heard no one that's hated this movie. So
I'm sure if I went on Letterboxd, I'd find someone who says it's complete bullshit because they hate reading subtitles. But the fact it came out so fucking good for such a cheap price, and it's a modern movie, gives such hope to independent filmmaking. But also within the story, when you get to the second half and you're seeing the production from hell as everything goes wrong, but also there's this hopefulness of everyone working together to make this stupid fucking movie, is just awesome. And it makes me so fucking happy.
It's very... Oh, sorry, go on.
No, you can go.
I was just going to say it's very interesting because this was a little lower on the list, and I was debating between this, I think, and maybe like Hard Boiled or Yojimbo, but I put it above that, and I was like, what film would go at number 5? Because my top 4 were about even with Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, Suspiria, Mabuse, and The Third Man. But I was like, this comes right behind those because it's such an uplifting movie, and it's so happy that I just kind of can't ignore it. And like you said, it speaks to me too, especially as a filmmaker. Because like even when the production's going crazy, there's this sense of camaraderie between everybody that even though shit's going crazy, we're going to get this done. And like there's several times to try to pull the plug, but it's like, no, here, we can do this and this and this. And you're right, it's absolutely inspiring that not only did the movie get made, but just looking at it it gives you hope, man.
Yeah. And on the complete opposite side, which I probably should have ended on the deeper note, but instead I'm working backwards because fuck it.
Yeah.
The other reasoning is the twist in this hit like a slap me outside the fucking head because, like I said earlier, I watched this in class. I mentioned this in the 50th episode as well, where we talked about One Cut of the Dead, but I was in class, and our teacher just said, it's this movie called One Cut of the Dead. We're going to sit down and watch it. He hit play on the DVD, and at the midway point, it rolled credits. Everyone looked around because the lights were still off. The teacher hadn't got up. We were like, okay, I guess we're sitting through the credits. And then the movie keeps going, and my brain went kablooey.
It's one of those films where, like, it keeps going, and, like, my immediate thought when this first happened was, oh, cool, there's, like, a little post-credit scene of something where they make the movie, and then it just keeps going.
And it just keeps going.
The way it subverts your expectations, because, it's One Cut of the Dead, and that's, I think, the name of the movie that they're making, right?
Yes, that's also the name of the film within the film.
So that helps just, blindside you when the movie ends, and it just keeps going. And you even fucking teased me at the end. You were like, yeah, so that was actually a really good zombie movie, wasn't it? Yeah, the way it, blah, 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 blah. And I think...
Oh, man, I dodged a bullet when showing you this, because you didn't look.
Yeah, because I was so fucking close to the screen that I didn't even notice, because you didn't want to spoil the runtime of the movie. You told me it was only half an hour.
Yeah.
And I had to use the restroom, and it kept going, and I'm like, Justin, how long is this movie? And you told me, oh, it's an hour and a half. I'm like, I'm going to pause it and use the bathroom now.
Cameron's a piss baby.
Actually, it was shit in that case. I had to take a massive
piss
shit.
Baby.
But... yeah, and I think the fucking excuse that you gave to watch the credits was because you liked the song.
Yeah, I said something like, oh, I just kind of like these credits, honestly.
That was your excuse.
That should have been the biggest red flag.
Yeah, because the thing is, when me and Justin watch movies, he never watches credits. Ever.
No.
I'm the one that always watches credits to see if there's something at the end. I'm the one that always does that, and he never does. I think in my mind, because I think the reason that subversion worked was because in my mind, I was like, oh my God, he's actually enjoying a credit sequence. I'll let him have this. Like, I think that was what I was thinking. Is like, okay, I'll just, for once, we're going to enjoy this.
No, you fucking eat shit.
And then it turned out it was all a ruse.
I cannot win.
Oh, I love that so much. Yeah, but just, and besides that, it's just besides all the meta and the deeper themes and the way it inspires us as filmmakers, it's just a really good and really funny movie. Like, the cast does a fantastic job and the characters are all memorable.
Yeah, they feel like real people on a set instead of people pretending to be on a set.
Yeah, honestly, it did. It felt that way, and everyone did such a good job in that. Like, again, the actors and the cinematography and just the way it came together, it's just, it's one of those movies where everything just kind of came together perfectly, both on a meta standpoint for the actual production and just the sheer enjoyment you get from the movie. But you're right, I think for us it just kind of just speaks to us, really.
Also, I've never seen a movie work on making the same jokes funny.
Yeah, because you see it from multiple angles.
Yeah, you find out certain odd part, because when you watch the first half where it is the one cut of the dead, you see all this stuff and there's some weird things. It's like, okay, I guess it's a joke because it's an indie horror movie. Or people are just randomly talking to add time. Sure, whatever. And then you find out it's because there were all these errors going on, and it makes it even funnier. Yeah. Because it's like, they're starting to ramble on about how the mother's been taking self-defense classes. It's like, that came out of nowhere.
Yeah,
but it's because an intern has come in holding a sign saying, "Stall, we have a problem."
Because there's a joke where there's an actor who he's a drunk, basically. He can't stay sober because he goes out and they have a problem with him. They can't get him in the place because he fucking passed out or something. And they literally just said, like you said, stall for time. And there's a moment where they stop and they kind of look around, and then she just starts talking, "Oh, I've been taking self-defense classes," and they go on a bit. It worked in the movie, though, because when I first saw it, like, the director was going off and they were talking, and I think they already mentioned something about the ominous or something. So it seemed like, because, it was on set, and it seemed like there was a deliberate pause there for the sake of awkwardness, because, oh, we've run out of things to talk about, and they keep going. It felt deliberate. But then you find out it wasn't.
It wasn't. It's so good.
Yeah, and the scene
and
where...
then you find out the mother isn't even, like... Yeah. She wasn't even supposed to be defending herself or anything. She just got too into the role.
She actually hurt one of the people. Yeah. Oh, it's great. And again, the humor, it's a fucking funny movie. So...
Yeah, the callbacks, it's so well made. And again, made for like $25,000.
Which, is so inspiring, and it's so impressive what they did. And that's the thing about filmmaking nowadays, which, because back in the 80s and 90s, they actually had to buy film and, the cameras were stupid expensive, and, you actually had to physically edit it on tape and cut it and then, like, paste it and all that, like, literally take glue and cut it together. But nowadays, it's become so easily accessible. Like, making movies is so easy and so affordable compared to, where it was even 10, 20 years ago. Like, it's so much more affordable and easy to do that, like, anyone with good equipment can basically make a movie. And it's one of those movies that shows you don't need a huge budget to make a fantastic movie that not only, is good from a technical standpoint, but if you hire the right people, good cinematographer, good editor, good sound design, people who just know their shit, and you just put it all together, you can make a movie that's, for not much, that just blows people away. And this is absolutely one of those. And I think it's starting to gain a bit of a cult following. It hasn't quite yet, but this is one of those movies, like, I think you mentioned this too, where I could totally see, like, one day in a Rocky Horror style thing where people are talking over the lines and shit. It seems like a movie that could be that one day.
I hope it is. I mostly because I want to be in a crowd of people. Pum!
Pum! Yes! Pum! Pum! Yes! That would be so fun. And then we could totally be the hipsters. We're like, oh, well, we were into this before. It was popular.
Yeah, we could. I still have the region free copy from Hong Kong.
But yeah, fucking, it's just such a fantastic movie, and it's just a real testament to what you can do nowadays, to what can be achieved when with the right people and when everything just comes together, and it's so good.
I don't know how to fucking end this.
Yeah, that was our top 10 favorite foreign movies. I should say favorite foreign so far. Our favorite foreign live action movies so far. Well, actually, no, because we could have had animation from. That's not anime, but
I actually avoided that too. I just didn't put any animation on.
That's fair. So yeah, that's that so far, and thank you so much for listening. We apologize for lying. This did end up being 2 hours. But
oh fuck, what's our time?
2 hours 12 minutes, baby.
Yeah, even if we're cutting some of the parts, that's still 2 hours.
Well,
hey, the strain won't be the longest anymore.
Oh my God, you're right. Thank the dear Lord. The strain is not worthy of that. It's not worthy of anything. So yeah, just for future reference, our top 10s are probably going to be long, man. So
yeah, unless we stop doing 10s and we do like 5 or something.
But these are so fun.
Yeah, but sometimes we don't have enough.
I know. Okay, but yeah, thank you so much for listening, and we will see you next time. Bye.
What?
Really? You're ready to get on a fuck?